So you're thinking about moving to Metro Detroit. You may be moving here for a job relocation. You may be moving here to come back to family, or maybe just love the Metro Detroit area so much that you're making the leap of faith and saying, screw wherever we're at. We are going into the Midwest, and Metro Detroit is our market. Well, if any of those speak to you, then stick around because this video, we're covering the top 5 suburbs of Metro Detroit. So let's get after it right now. What's going on, you guys? If we've never met before, my name is Eric Meldrum. I make videos about all things Metro Detroit, what it's like to live here, play here, work here, the snow and the sunshine, and everything in between. I'm also a licensed real estate professional. I help people just like you buy, sell, relocate, and invest here in the Metro Detroit market, and we want to help you do just that. So if this is the first time to our channel, then go ahead and subscribe and hit that little bell so you're the first to learn about the current market and all the new videos we drop just like this. All right, so let's get right into it. So the top 5 suburbs in Metro Detroit, there's a lot that goes into this list, a lot of careful consideration in terms of picking these cities out for a specific reason. And I'm going to share a pro and a con for each of them, show you a little bit of good things about the city, but also, things aren't always rainbows and sunshine here in Metro Detroit. Every city has its cons depending on what you're looking for. And I think that's the biggest thing that I want to focus on. Like when we have our Zoom calls with our clients, we always say we don't sell houses, we sell lifestyle. So depending on what you're looking for, we want to be able to match you up with the perfect lifestyle here in Metro Detroit, whether you're looking for a great suburb, a place with great schools, maybe you want to be close to the downtown area, maybe you want to have a park nearby, you want to have walking trails, or you want acreage. All of those things are really important, and I know that was important for us when we were looking for our first home. So we want to be able to match you up with the best lifestyle depending on what you're looking for. And I think you're going to find that in a lot of these top 5 suburbs, there's a wide mix of things to do. There's a wide mix of cities that have downtown areas. There's a wide range of cities that have really good real estate or really good schools, but not all the cities have everything that you might be looking for. So it's just a little bit of give and take when it comes to that. So we're going to go into this. I'm going to share some stats about some of these cities, obviously a pro and con, and then we're going to show you in comparison to Detroit specifically, what is the drive time? And that's really kind of our baseline of, how far away are you from Detroit? But you'll find that you're really close to a lot of things in a lot of these cities. So let's get into it and start with number 1. You can rank them however you want. This is just how I put them on the list. So again, in no particular order, but number 1 for the best suburb in Detroit is Troy, Michigan. Now, Troy is located northwest of Detroit, and it's about 40 minutes to downtown Detroit, about 45 minutes to the airport. And you can get really pretty much anywhere around Metro Detroit, from Troy. So if you're going over to Birmingham, Royal Oak, Milford, it's all really close. And you can get up to Rochester as well, super close to Troy. Troy is probably one of the most central, besides like Royal Oak and Birmingham. It's really kind of on that same vein there. But Troy is really centrally located here in the Metro Detroit area. So good location. Now, the best thing on a pro for Troy is the schools and the shopping. Now, a lot of people love living in Troy specifically for those reasons. Great school system, but they got some amazing shopping. Somerset Mall's there. If you've been to Somerset or haven't been to Somerset, you got to check it out. It's one of the biggest malls here in the Metro Detroit area. That's where they got all of the designer stores. That's where they got all of the big box stores and really some cool local Michigan stuff as well. It's 3 levels. They got pretty much everything you need in there, and it's really a destination. I know when we were younger, we would go out to the mall and just hang out. We would try to meet girls and do all that fun stuff when you're a teenager. So I think a lot of the kids still do that in the Troy area. So super fun. Check out Somerset Mall. But a con for Troy is that they don't really have a downtown area. They're trying to build up the Big Beaver corridor right there, right outside of Somerset. And they've done a lot of things, but it doesn't have a small, quaint downtown like a lot of some other cities here in Metro Detroit. So Troy, for that reason, I would say it's a con. If you're looking for more of a downtown area, Troy's not going to have that, but they do have a lot of cool things going on. They've tried to make that Big Beaver corridor, which is the road. It's basically the main intersection. If you look at Troy, and my video editor Les or Aris, we'll put that up on the screen for you. Shout out to Les and Aris; they do a great job on these videos. But there you can see from the overhead view that Big Beaver just runs right into Somerset, and it's got tons of restaurants, tons of they got Granite City Brewing there. They have A lot of new restaurants, Jersey Mike's, these are all just like basic ones that you can go, but they have a lot of cool, local restaurants as well that you can check out. So big con is, they don't have a downtown area, but they do have a lot of cool stuff there. In terms of stats on Troy, the population there is right around 86,000 people. The median home value is right around $335,000. Interesting fact is 75% of people actually own their home in Troy, which is, we've always talked about this on this channel. If you find a high ownership city, that means a lot more people are likely to hold on to their properties longer, which means that the property values are going to continue to go up because there's not as much supply in those areas. And then the median income in Troy, Michigan is right around $107,000 per year. So pretty healthy income compared to the median home value there, at $335,000. All right, so coming in at number 2 is Ann Arbor, Michigan. Now, before we move on to Ann Arbor, if you got something nice to say about Troy, drop those in the comments below. I'd love to hear those. I answer all those personally as well. If you also have something negative to say about Troy, drop those in the comments. It helps everybody watching these videos learn a little bit more about Troy or the things that they might not like about Troy, and that's why we do this. So drop in those comments below. But Ann Arbor is located west of Detroit. It's going to be about a 20-minute drive to the airport, about a 30-minute drive to downtown Detroit, but you don't really need to leave Ann Arbor and venture out too far. Ann Arbor is got everything you need right there. But if you do want to catch a Red Wings game or a Tigers game or something, it's super close to downtown Detroit, and you can make it there within, like I said, 20 or 30 minutes, depending on the traffic. I would say a big pro of Ann Arbor, and some people may look at this as a con, but this is my opinion on it, is the real estate market in Ann Arbor, although it can be competitive and it can be quite high in real estate prices, it's a really great investment. When you look at the ecosystem in Ann Arbor with the university, the hospital system, a lot of the tech jobs that are there, there's really a good ecosystem of employers, and the economy there is very strong. So when you look at unemployment, when you look at things like that, and you're looking to make a good investment in a home, what we work with a lot of people who are moving here for grad school, or maybe they're going to be doing their residency at the University of Michigan, and they're kind of on the fence, like, hey, do I buy, do I rent? And every time we run the numbers, it's always a cost advantage to actually own the property. If you're going to be here for 2 to 3 years, own that property and then hold on to that as a short-term rental or long-term rental in the Ann Arbor market, because over time you're just going to make out like a bandit because the property values just keep going up and up. So for that reason, I look at that as a pro. Now, for a con in Ann Arbor, if you are a Michigan State fan, you are going to be really disappointed because Ann Arbor is home to the University of Michigan. Go Blue. We're actually a house divide, so my girls love Michigan State. I don't even know why they love it. I think because my aunt or uncle not my aunt, their aunt and uncle, my sister, told them to root for State. But my wife and I went to Western Michigan, so we're Go Broncos. But we love Michigan. We love the University of Michigan and Michigan State. But if you are a Michigan State fan, I'm sorry to tell you, but you're going to be firmly disappointed, and you might be booed out of the city. All right, so time for the stats on Ann Arbor. Population right around 122,000 people. Median home value is right around $366,000. I would think that's a little bit higher, but when you take out the condos, or add the condos in, I should say, that does make sense. But if you took the condos out, I think the last time I ran the numbers on that, it was right around $450,000 for the average single-family home in Ann Arbor. It's kind of like a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. So it's going to be $450,000. But with the condos, median home value is right around $366,000. Now, 54% of people rent in Ann Arbor, which doesn't seem like a very high, seems like a high number for rent, but doesn't seem like a high number of people who own homes. And you got to keep in mind the rental market in Ann Arbor is a lot of people coming here for the university, a lot of people coming and staying for short term at the university for residency if they're doing any sort of medical degree or anything related to that. So there are a lot of people who rent here short term, but like I talked about, if you can purchase and actually own that investment property, you're going to make out really good with your investment here in Ann Arbor. And then the median household income in Ann Arbor is $73,000. All right, so next up on our list is Grosse Pointe Park, Michigan. Now, I have a lot of fond memories going to Grosse Pointe. I lived in St. Clair Shores when I was growing up, if you've heard me talk about that. But Grosse Pointe is a great city. My cousins lived there. We had a lot of friends who lived in Grosse Pointe, and Grosse Pointe Park is one of 5 Grosse Pointes. So you got Grosse Pointe, just regular Grosse Pointe. You got Grosse Pointe Park, Grosse Pointe Shores, Grosse Pointe Farms, and Grosse Pointe Woods. So there's a lot of them there, but Grosse Pointe Park continues to rank as a great city in the suburbs of Metro Detroit. And, it's located just east of Detroit. It's about 20 minutes from Grosse Pointe to get to downtown, and then about 40 minutes to get to the airport, because you're actually on the opposite side. So you're going to travel through downtown Detroit to actually get to the airport. So it's a little bit of a further drive, but a lot of people who work in the automotive industry started, moving to Grosse Pointe. It was one of those cities that just got a lot of attention when people were moving out of Detroit. A lot of the auto executives started building, and they started building massive homes. I mean, some of the homes in Grosse Pointe Park are absolutely enormous. The real estate is really cool to look at. So I would definitely encourage you to check that out. But a big pro for the Grosse Pointe Park area is the family friendliness and the school system. So if you're looking to be in a tight-knit community, if you're looking to, be walking down the street and say hi to all your neighbors, Grosse Pointe is definitely that vibe. And, people love living there for that specific reason. Now, one of the big cons about Grosse Pointe is because you got such great real estate and such a great community, the property taxes are higher. So you're going to be paying a lot for your home, but you're also going to be paying a lot for the property taxes. But all the amenities that come along with that are absolutely phenomenal. So some quick stats on Grosse Pointe Park. The population there is right around 12,000 people. Median home value is going to run you right around $380,000, and 74% of people actually own their homes in Grosse Pointe. Again, I talk about the percent of renting versus home ownership, and it's a really good indication of home values, and they're going to stick with a very high ownership rate. And then the median income for Grosse Pointe is right around $124,000 per year. All right, so number 4 on the list is in Novi, Michigan. Now, Novi has a lot of deep roots with the automotive industry, and as a lot of the manufacturing was moving out of Detroit, they tended to put a lot of the manufacturing facilities for Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3 that were still feeding a lot of the assembly plants, and they went into areas like Novi, Farmington, Rochester, like all over the place. But there tends to be a lot more central location in the Novi area. And you talked about, the commute to downtown Detroit, which is 30 minutes, right? So it's centrally located. GM has a facility in Warren, which is just to the east of it, so that's about 20 minutes there. And then you have the Jefferson Assembly Plant for Fiat. I don't even know what they're going by now, Stellantis, FCA, but they used to be Chrysler. And then they have a plant in Detroit that a lot of these people feed down to, or a lot of the Tier 1s feed into. So for that reason, if you're somebody that's moving to the Metro Detroit area for a Tier 1, Tier 2, or Tier 3, or the automotive industry in general, Novi tends to be a good central place, because if you're either in the supply chain visiting these places, or maybe you're an engineer and you have to be on site at a lot of these places, the commute time tends to be really good if you're going to the office there. So Novi, a lot of deep-rooted ties to the automotive industry, but the location is just northwest of Detroit. Like I said, 34 minutes to downtown Detroit, about 30 minutes to the airport. And a couple pros about Novi: it's always ranked as one of the top places to live here in Michigan, and that's because it's got great schools, and it's got some of the best real estate here in the area, and the central location just kind of brings that all together. So with an addition of great schools, great real estate, and a great location, Novi continues to rank at the top there. But a big con about Novi, just like Troy, is it doesn't have a downtown area. So when they did a lot of the city planning, they didn't put a downtown area in there, which may be perfectly fine. There's tons of shopping, there's tons of plazas and grocery stores and all these other places to go, but there's not really like a downtown area where you can go on Main Street and do that thing. So if that's important to you, Novi might not be the best place, but there's a lot of cities close to it, like Northville, Plymouth. You can go over to the west in Milford, and you're really got those downtown areas in any of the surrounding cities. Novi just doesn't have it. All right, some quick stats on Novi. Population right around 65,000 people. Median house value is right around $336,000, and 67% of people actually own their homes in Novi. Median household income of $100,000. All right, last but not least is number 5, Royal Oak, Michigan. Now, this is probably one of the biggest reach outs we get about Royal Oak is everybody hears that Royal Oak is like the place to be. So when we get calls, they're like, hey, what's up with Royal Oak? Like, people I've talked to said Royal Oak's a great city, and I agree. Royal Oak's a really, really cool city. But let's go through all the stats and see what lifestyle you might gravitate towards, because Royal Oak has a lot of those different lifestyles, which I think is really cool about the city. So in terms of location, it's just located north of Detroit. It's about 20 minutes to downtown Detroit, but it's about 40 minutes from the airport. So if you want to be a little bit closer to the airport, I think moving a little bit more west might give you a little bit shorter commute time, like Novi, for example. You got a straight shot down to the airport there. You can get over there pretty quickly. But if you are wanting to be in Royal Oak, one of the biggest pros of Royal Oak is the Detroit Zoo. Now, it's kind of weird that the Detroit Zoo is not in Detroit. It's actually in Royal Oak, but hey, we'll take it, because the Detroit Zoo has a lot of things to offer, from summertime fun with the kids, taking them in there and just kind of touring around, watching all the animals, do their thing. We've done that so many days with our girls as we take them over there and just kind of hang out. They have a lot of cool things for parents to do and a lot of cool things for kids to do as well. And then in the winter time, they have even more events. So the place doesn't close down. They actually turn the whole entire zoo into a light show. So they've got spectacles where you can just do a kind of a walking tour, a winter wonderland through the pass that they have. And then they have some 3D stuff. I think they even included some 4D stuff. I'm not sure what that entails, but my wife was telling me about that the other day, that they had included something, and I forgot what she said, but she'll probably kill me because I always forget what she says. Don't tell her I said that. But the zoo is a great spot in Royal Oak. Now, in addition to the zoo, that's not the only pro on Royal Oak. The downtown area has great restaurants, great walkability, and I think that's one of the reasons why so many people love living there. Now, cons about Royal Oak is also the downtown area. It can get really, really busy. So if you're looking for a quick lunch or a quick dinner, you may not be able to get in and out as quickly as you want to, because so many of the places are crowded. The population there is right around 58,000 people in Royal Oak. So you got everybody coming from the outskirts going to the downtown area, and then the surrounding areas, people are also coming because some of the restaurants in Royal Oak are so good. When we were younger, Royal Oak used to be one of the hot spots for kind of nightlife. Bars used to be open until 2 o'clock. Not a lot of places do that anymore. I think COVID kind of ruined that 2 a.m. closing of the bars, which I could care less about. We got 2 kids now. We're not staying up past 9:30. On a good day. So in addition to the cons, I would say Royal Oak has a little bit more faster pace of life. When I would show homes and, to you guys that are coming in and we're looking at some of the beautiful real estate in Royal Oak, people tend to get a little bit pushy with the traffic. There's a little bit of a beep and like sense of urgency with things that I don't get, when I move just west of Novi. It tends to slow down a little bit. But Royal Oak's still a great place. So a couple stats on Royal Oak, like I said, population right around 60,000, median home values right around 249,000, and 66% of people actually own their home in Royal Oak, which is a pretty good percentage in my opinion. And then you have a median income of right around $87,000 per year. All right, you guys, so there's the top 5 suburbs here in Metro Detroit. Now, I packed a lot into this video to try to give you as much information as we could, but hey, I'm human. If I miss something, let me know. If there's a city that you love, drop those in the comments below, or you should have a question about any of the cities that we covered, or maybe a city that you're considering moving to, drop those in the comments below. Like I said before, I answer all those personally. I'd love to be the best resource for you when making your move here to Michigan. So if you are moving in 1 month or 1 year from now, go ahead and give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email. I got all my contact information down below. And if this information is helpful, then consider subscribing to this channel and hitting that little bell so you're the first to learn all about the Metro Detroit market and every new video that we put out weekly. Until next time, guys, go check out these other videos we did on Metro Detroit, and we'll catch you on the next one. Peace.